Welcome everyone, this is SimbleThings, a channel where I talk about living with C-PTSD and, anything connected to that. Today's episode, we're going to talk about why I'm never going to recommend specific treatment programs for people, or why I'm never going to talk about my own, specifically. And there are some really big reasons for that, and the main one is because it would be silly to try, because trying to recommend a treatment program for people I don't know is impossible to do properly. What I can do is I can give you some pointers and tips to things that might help you get on a road to recovery. I can help you by directing you towards things like obviously therapy, to again help you kind of find your own way. But the main thing you have to understand is that your recovery kind of centers around you. You know, your traumas, your experiences, everything is unique to you. So you have to kind of find your own way, and you can get support from friends, from a therapist, counselors, things like that. But nobody can fully tell you how to deal with this, because this is your own thing that you have to work through. It's hard, but that's the kind of way it is, because it's not like some kind of disease where there is a very specific cure. There's a whole range of reasons why you could have PTSD. And because that's a really diverse thing, there's no way to just say, yep, this is what you need to do to get onto recovery. And again, that's why I'm not going to talk about my own specific treatment program, because I don't want people to just think, oh, they can just do what I do and that will help you. It probably won't. So rather than talk about that stuff, I just want to talk about some things that I think can help you. And I think the first one of those things is to try and get yourself some mental space. Now, I think some people can see this as running away from your problems, and maybe in some ways it could be, but I feel like the place where we have to live inside our head is the same place where all these traumas exist, and it's like the same head. We've got the same place that we have to live day to day, and it also contains the history of all these things, and it's all up there together. And it's hard, right? Because you can be just going about daily kind of things, just normal day-to-day stuff, and suddenly something can come out of nowhere and make you remember something, or a feeling can happen that connects to like a bad experience, or like it can always just kind of intrude into your day-to-day life. It sometimes can feel that there isn't that kind of safe place, because all that shit is in your head, right? Like, we can't forget these experiences, and I guess even if we could, the damage that they've done is still going to be there, right? So I think trying to get space mentally is really healthy. One of the ways you can do that is like reading novels, reading the type of stories that you can really get lost in and get into, and give your head a distraction from that. And sometimes that can help. I'll put a link in to some books that I felt like helped give me some mental space and helped to like think in different ways. That's the other thing as well. Like, reading some standard story like might help, might give you some distraction, but like reading something that where the story is really different and it makes you think differently, that's super important, right? Because we're used to thinking the same old ways about everything in our own head, right? But if you can start thinking about some of the things in your head in a different way and see it in a different light, that can sometimes help to understand yourself better. And that's a really big part of the process. Like, really understanding where your head is now after all the experiences you've had, that's going to be a big part of like your road to recovery, because you can't recover from something, you can't think of the right ways to treat something when you don't even understand it. So that's the thing, that we have to really be able to understand where we're at, where we've been, to help inform us of how we're going to go forward with our day-to-day lives and the things that we can try and do to help with that, right? So I think that's a really good thing to do, reading things that help you to think differently. I know what I wouldn't recommend reading is like kind of biographies or autobiographies, people that have been through stuff talking about the specific stuff, horrible things maybe that have happened to them. I wouldn't recommend reading that, because it's really easy to get like lost in the traumas, whether they're your own or somebody else's, and in a way sometimes it can feel good reading about somebody else's, but I don't know how helpful that is, because it's focusing on trauma generally rather than thinking about your own issues and how to like move forward. Um, yeah, I'm not totally sure that's a good thing to do. If it helps you, cool. But this is the reason why I'm not going to give any specific recommendations in terms of treatment, because who knows what helps some people and what doesn't help others. But for me, that's not something I think that would help me at all. So another thing I think can really help, obviously, counseling, whether that's just talking through with friends or going to an actual trained counselor and trained therapy. It's really important, but you've also got to kind of manage your expectations with that. I understand as well it can be hard for some people, but remember, these are trained professionals who are worked and studied very hard to try and be good at this thing, to try and help people. So if you think you're going to have trouble talking to them, then let them help you feel comfortable in that situation to help you try and share. But as I said, I think we have to manage our expectations of what going to therapy can get us. Is it going to be a place where all our problems can be solved? No, initially it's going to be a place where you're going to try and be able to share and understand those problems firstly. And then, yeah, you can start to think about ways that you can start to treat them. And I'm sure in the same way that I won't give specific recommendations without knowing and understanding, like neither would a therapist. Like, they would seek to understand you and your situation properly first before they can start to recommend things to do that could help you. So like, I think that is a big thing. We have to like understand ourselves properly to be able to move forward, and we have to understand that even if we did feel like we understood ourselves previously, then maybe after post C-PTSD, we have to relearn about ourselves. And for others that we don't remember a time before that horrible stuff, then we just have to try and learn bit by bit, right? And see how we can do. I think that's like really central to why I'm not going to talk about, I do this and I do that. And it, it's not like really useful, I don't think. If anybody disagrees, happy to hear your comments and what you think. But that's kind of where I stand on that matter. So I guess to kind of sum up, I think I'm totally recommending that you try and understand yourself and your situation and what's happened and how that's affected you. I think you should put that first and foremost and try and find different ways of thinking about it. Don't get locked into the same ways of thinking about stuff, because that's not useful. That's just going to kind of beat yourself up about it, which isn't what we want to do. What we have to do, and what I want to try and relate on this channel, is we have to think about how we live day to day, not just about what's happened, because that has happened. We have to learn and understand about ourselves and then work out how best we can live day to day, because we have to, right? Like, we have to try and move forward, and we have to try and cope with life and everything that brings along with it, right? Work, keeping your home right, cleaning, relationships, people, like all these different things that we have going on, or we want to have going on, hobbies and pastimes and things. And that's another thing. I think having good hobbies and pastimes is really important. If you've always wanted to learn an instrument, I'd say go for it. It's really good. I think it's a really healthy thing for your brain, forging new pathways. And these new pathways that get forged, they're forged in a place of you doing something you've really wanted to do, right? It's really healthy, and I really recommend that too. But yeah, anything to help you think differently, add to yourself, and help to recognize that you're always developing as a person. It's not about being stagnant. Every day there's change, and there will keep being change. And that means, 1 year down the line, you might not believe how much better you can feel day to day than you do now. But it takes, the effort and the willingness, and it's hard. It's super, super hard. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently. Don't let anybody ever tell you it's just in your head. It's not. That's you. All pain is in your head technically, right? If we didn't have a brain to process that information, we wouldn't know it was pain, right? So don't let anybody tell you this isn't hard. It is hard, but you can do it. So I really do hope that my videos help. And if you know anybody that you think might benefit from them, then please share them to them. If you like the video, then please give it a like. Tell me if you didn't like it. I'd really appreciate a comment as to why. This is a very new channel. I'm new to this, right? I feel like I'm in a place where I can talk about my experiences, but that doesn't mean I'm really good at it. So any comments you have that could try and make this better, then I'd appreciate that, really would. And yeah, I hope you have a good day, and I hope tomorrow's even better. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time.